last mathematics class, we already discussed about the conversion between rationals to decimals and decimals to rationals. And at the end of the last class, we learnt about the concept of irrational numbers. Now, in today's class, I will start my discussion with the definition of irrational numbers, and then I am going to prove the irrationality of those numbers. Let us see on the board irrational numbers. As we discussed in the last class, irrational numbers are neither terminating nor repeating decimals. There are different types of decimals: terminating decimals, non-terminating decimals. And among the non-terminating decimals, still we have two types: recurring decimals as well as non-repeating decimals. And the neither terminating nor repeating decimals are termed as irrational numbers. All we discussed in the last class. And these neither terminating nor repeating decimals can't be expressed in P by Q form. So, in another way, these irrational numbers are mentioned as the numbers which are not in P by Q form for the integers P comma Q. And these irrational numbers are not rationals because they are not in the form of P by Q. See, all we discussed these definitions in the previous class, and now I am going to check few numbers which are there on the board, whether they are rational or irrational. Let us see 0.347. If you look here, 0.347 is a terminating decimal because the decimal part is terminating. So this 0.347 is rational number and this is not irrational. I am identifying the irrational numbers here, okay? This is not irrational and this is rational. And look there, 0.454545. And this 0.4545 is a non-terminating decimal, but it is repeating. The decimal part contains repeated digits 454545. So this is non-terminating but repeating decimal. So it is also not irrational and this is also rational. So this is not an irrational number. Whereas coming to the third example here, this decimal 17 point something like 3210136 I mentioned here. See, the decimal part contains infinite number of digits. There is no termination in the decimal part and we don't know the next digit what comes after this 5. So this is actually an uncertain number and this is a non-terminating, non-repeating decimal. So we can't express this non-terminating, non-repeating decimal into P by Q form, and we call these type of decimals as irrational numbers, and this is irrational. Whereas coming to another example, here this is minus 4 point something, and again if you look the decimal part, the decimal part is not terminating, it is continuing, and we don't know the next digit of this one, right? And that's why we mentioned this is also as a neither terminating nor repeating decimal, and we count it as an irrational number, right? And coming to these numbers, root 2, root 3, root 4, root 5, root 6, we have the square roots of other numbers also. And among these numbers, it is very clear that square root of 4 is equals to 2. And this 2 is clearly of the format rational form, like 2 by 1. So this is not irrational. And now we need to think about this root 2, root 3, root 5 and root 6. Already in your 9th class, you learned the way of calculating the approximate values for the square root of 2, square root of 3, square root of 5 and like these numbers using the division process. And there you identified that the approximate value of these square roots is a neither terminating nor repeating decimal. And from there we conclude that these numbers are irrational numbers. So root 2 is irrational, root 3 is irrational, root 5 is irrational, root 6 is irrational, and all these numbers are irrational, and you learned the way of finding their approximate values as neither terminating nor repeating in your 9th class. And now here in this class, in real numbers, we are going to prove these numbers as irrational. We are going to check the irrationality of these numbers using fundamental theorem of arithmetics after this. And now let us see one more example. I have this as minus root 2 by root 3. And if you look there, this minus root 2 by root 3 is of the form P by Q, but that P and the Q, numerator and denominator, not integers. See, we say that if a number is there in P by Q form, for integers P comma Q, then that number is counted in rational numbers, or otherwise we treat it as irrational. And here it fails the form of rational number and still it is irrational. So this is also irrational number. And this is the definition of irrational number, and these are few examples of irrational numbers. And now, see, in this class, we are going to prove the irrationality of these numbers using fundamental theorem of arithmetics. Before going to prove the irrationality of the numbers, I will start my discussion with a statement which is helpful in proving those irrationality, and this statement is a result from the fundamental theorem of arithmetics. Let us look the statement. If P divides A square, then P divides A for a prime number P. Once again, see, P is a prime number here, and if that P divides A square, if it happens, then compulsory that P divides A. If P divides A square, then P divides A, and this is very helpful in proving the irrationality of the numbers, and this is a result from the fundamental theorem of arithmetics. And look there, see, the proof of this statement is actually not compulsory to accept the statement. And to accept the statement, just you need to think and analyze the statement. What is the statement? P is a prime and it is dividing A square. Since P is dividing A square, if you divide A square with the prime number P, it leaves a remainder 0. Since when you divide A square with a prime number P leaving remainder 0, in the sense P is the one of the prime factor of A square. And if you write the prime factorization for A square, in the prime factorization, P is one of the factor for that A square. And that P is prime, you need to note. And you just think about A square. A square is the square of A. See, in the prime factorization of A square, since A square is the square of A, every prime factor occurs at least 2 times there. Since P is a factor and A square in every prime factor occurs twice, so P also there in the prime factorization of A square for 2 times. Since P is there in the prime factorization of A square for 2 times, then from there if you identify A in the prime factorization of A, there surely you will get 1P, and then since there is 1P in the prime factorization of A, it is very clear that P divides A and also leaves a remainder 0. And at the end, this is completely based on the prime factorization of A square as well as A. And the statement is once again, if P divides A square, then for sure P divides A also. Let us check this statement with some examples. You need to take a prime number for P and you need to take a number for A square. For suppose, if I take P is equals to something like 3 and A square is equals to some 36. If you look there, if P is equals to 3 and A square is equals to 36, just look there, P divides A square. Is it clear or not? Since P is dividing A square, 3 divides 36, it is very clear. Then you will get that P also divides A. Since A square is 36, what you say about A? Since A square is 36, A is equals to 6. Is it right? So if P divides A square, if you have that statement in your hands, then for sure P divides A also. P divides A also. Okay, this is one example by taking few numbers in the place of A square and P. Since 3 divides A square, then 3 divides 6 also. For suppose in the place of P, if you take 4, 4 divides A square, is it right? Right. But 4 divides 6, is it right? No. Since 4 is not prime there. See, it happens only for prime numbers P. If P is not prime, then this statement is not correct. You can confirm it by taking P is equals to 4 and A square is equals to 36. 4 divides 36, but 4 does not divide 6. Why it happens? Because 4 is not a prime. If a number is prime, then for sure, if it divides A square, then compulsory it divides A also. And this is the statement which we can prove using fundamental theorem of arithmetics, because the proof contains the prime factorization of A square and A. Right? Once again, I am repeating you the statement that if P divides A square, then P divides A. And now, with the help of this statement, we are going to prove the irrationality of the numbers. Now, the first statement, first problem of the class, we need to prove that root 7 is an irrational number. Already we know that root 7 is irrational. Just we did in the 9th class by observing its square root value using division process, and it is neither terminating nor repeating, and from there we conclude that root 7 is irrational. But now here in this class, we are going to prove the irrationality of root 7 using fundamental theorem of arithmetics, or the statement which we stated before this, right? So, and we prove this statement, we solve this problem proving root 7 as irrational by a technique called as proof of contradiction. And what is the proof of contradiction? See, for example, we need to prove a statement. Then, if you are trying to prove that statement using proof by contradiction, first of all, you need to start your analysis, your proving with a statement which gives opposite meaning to the given statement. Okay, we are going to prove a statement using proof by contradiction. Then in this technique, you need to start your proof by taking a statement which gives opposite meaning for the given problem. And with that opposite meaning, you need to apply your mathematical skills, your mathematical logics. And after a certain stage, you will reach a contradiction. And why we arrive at that contradiction means because we are starting with a wrong statement. Then our supposition is wrong, then at the end, our supposition is wrong, then the given statement is the correct one. This is the way of proving a statement, a problem or a theorem using the technique proof by contradiction. And now we are going to use that technique to prove the irrationality of root 7. Our intention is to prove that root 7 is irrational. Then by the technique of proof of contradiction, first of all you need to assume that, let us assume, see, we need to prove root 7 as irrational. You need to assume a statement which gives opposite meaning for the given one. So you need to assume that root 7 as rational. Right? Our intention is to prove root 7 as irrational. But we are starting our proof with a statement which is just opposite to the given one, and that is root 7 as rational. See, we know that every rational number is of the form p by q for the integers p comma q. Here I mentioned that root 7 as rational. Since root 7 is rational, we need to write root 7 in the form of p by q for integers p comma q. For integers p comma q. Now you need to think about this numerator and denominator. You need to look at this p and q, whether there is any common factors for this p and q or not. If there are no common factors for both numerator and denominator, we usually call it as simplest form of the rational number. And if there are any common factors, you just cancel out those common factors and express this p by q in its simplest form, right? So first of all, we started with by the assumption that root 7 as rational. And since root 7 as rational, you need to write it like of the form p by q. And now you just think about that p and q, whether it is in simplest form or not. We don't know actually. And if it is not in simplest form, if there are some common factors for this p and q, you just cancel out those common factors and then express that root 7 in the simplest form of the rational form. And for example, here I am supposing it as a by b. Then root 7 is equals to p by q, or root 7 is equals to a by b. Both are just conveying the same meaning, that root 7 is rational and this a by b is the simplest form. Since we are mentioning it as simplest form, then here there are no common factors for a and b. So from this statement, the next one is root 7 is equals to a by b for a comma b have no common factors. You need to note this. A comma b have no common factors because we cancelled out those common factors from p and q and we arrived to its simplest form. And root 7 is equals to a by b, right? And now since root 7 is equals to a by b, from there we need to apply our mathematical skills to arrive at contradiction. Then to arrive that, first of all, I do squaring on both sides. What I am going to do? I am going to do squaring on both sides. You just look here, if you square on both sides, what will happen? In the left hand side, this is root 7 and its square is just 7, okay? And in the right side, we have a by b. If you square on both sides, and this is a square by b square. And 7 is equals to a square by b square, and you just do cross multiplication here. Then from there you will get that a square is equals to 7b square. And since a square is equals to 7b square, it is very clear that now 7 is a factor for this a square and 7 divides a square. Since a square is equals to 7b square, we will rewrite it like this: 7 divides a square. Just it is by the definition of factor and multiple. And since 7 divides a square, what you will say? Just by the statement what we discussed before this theorem, if p is a prime and divides a square, then for sure p divides a. Then with that logic, since 7 divides a square, then for sure 7 divides a. Right. And since 7 divides A, 7 is a factor for A, so we will write that A is equals to 7 into something. You may say here as 7 into some k. And since A is equals to 7 into some k, again you just do square on both sides. A square you will get it as 49 k square if you square again on both sides. Right. See, we are applying our mathematical skills just to arrive a contradiction now. That's why I am squaring. I am just rewriting that A square is equals to 49 k square. And already we have that A square is equals to 7b square. You just mark this equation, and from that equation you just replace this A square with 7b square. And if you replace here, you will get that 7b square is equals to 49k square. And since 7b square is 49k square, what you say about b square? Just you send this 7 that side, it cancels out 49 by 7, and you will get that b square is equals to 7k square. Is it right? Right. And b square is equals to 7k square. And then what you say? Since b square is equals to 7k square, and again there is you have a chance to say that this 7 is a factor for b square. B square is equals to 7 into something. And from there we conclude that 7 divides b square again. Yeah, 7 divides b square. And now again if you look once here, since 7 divides b square, then by the statement what we stated before this theorem, from there it is very clear that we will conclude that 7 divides b. And now look at these two statements. I am highlighting those two. In this step we found that 7 divides a, and in the last step we found that 7 divides b. And if you observe these two, 7 divides a, that in the sense 7 is a factor for a. 7 divides b, that in the sense 7 is a factor for b. So from these two statements we will conclude that 7 is a factor for both a and b. 7 is a factor for both a comma b. And since 7 is a factor for both a comma b, here it is a contradiction, because already we supposed that a comma b have no common factors. Just think once, at the end we have that there is a common factor 7 for both a and b. But we started our problem, our proof with a generalization that where a comma b have no common factors. Then this statement is contradicted by the last statement that 7 is a factor for both a and b. Why we are arriving these contradictory statements? Just because of our assumption. So at the end we conclude that our assumption is wrong to avoid this contradiction. Our assumption is wrong. What is our assumption? Our assumption is that root 7 is rational. Then that statement, root 7 is rational, is a wrong statement. Since root 7 is rational is a wrong statement, then we conclude that root 7 is not rational. Since root 7 is not rational, then obviously root 7 is irrational, and at the end we conclude that root 7 is irrational. And this is the way of proving the irrationality of the numbers like root 7. Once again, have a look at this. Our intention is here to show that root 7 as irrational. To show root 7 as irrational, to prove that, I will go by a technique called proof by contradiction. And to start the technique, we need to assume a wrong statement which is just opposite to the given one. And given thing is root 7 is irrational, and we need to start our assumption with that root 7 as rational. And since root 7 as rational, you need to express that root 7 in the form of p by q. Root 7 is equals to p by q for q, p comma q as integers. And now you just think about that p and q. P and q may have a common factors and may not have common factors. If they have any common factors, you just cancel out those two common factors and express that p by q in its simplest form. So the simplest form of p by q may be p by q or maybe some other fraction, and that is a by b. So a by b is the simplest rational form for this root 7, and where you state that a comma b have no common factors because it is in simplest form. And now from there we need to use our mathematical skills to arrive a contradiction. So I just squaring on both sides. From there 7 is equals to a square by b square. Do cross multiplication. A square is equals to 7b square. See, a square is equals to 7 into something. It is very clear from the elementary knowledge that 7 is a factor. 7 divides a square. See, 7 divides a square. Then by the statement what we stated before this, since 7 divides a square, for sure 7 divides a. And since 7 divides A, again we will write that A as a multiple of 7. So A is equals to 7 into something, and here I am taking that some value as K, so A is equals to 7K. And now do squaring on both sides. A square is 49K square. So now to establish a contradiction, I am rewriting this A square as 7B square, and if you rewrite, you will get that 7B square is equals to 49K square. Here I am using this particular statement in replacing A square. So 7B square is 49K square. See, B square is 7K square. Again the same theory get repeated here. Since B square is 7K square, again 7 divides B square. Since 7 divides B square, by the same logic 7 divides B. 7 divides B, and already we have that 7 divides A. That in the sense 7 divides both A and B. 7 is a factor for both A and B. 7 is a common factor for both A and B. This contradicts our statement that A comma B have no common factors. Then by this contradiction, we conclude that our assumption is wrong. Our assumption that root 7 as irrational is a wrong statement, then automatically the correct statement is that root 7 is irrational. So just this is the proof of proving the irrationality of the numbers using the technique called proof by contradiction. And this technique is helpful to prove the irrationality of the numbers not only for root 7. The same theory, the same technique helps to prove the irrationality of the numbers root 2, root 3, root 5 and everything. If this theory helps to prove the irrationality of the numbers of the form root p for prime p. And after that, there is a chance to extend this way of proving the irrationality of the numbers for root 6 and then root 8. For all these numbers also there is a way to prove that. And if you extend this theory, at the end you can prove the irrationality of the numbers of the form root d if d is not the square of any integer. And now, the second problem of the class, we need to prove that 3 plus 2 root 5 is irrational. Just we proved that root 5, root 7 or all these things are irrational just by using the technique called proof by contradiction. And now, we are going to prove that 3 plus 2 root 5 as irrational. And once you just look at the number 3 plus 2 root 5. Here 3 is a rational number and 2 root 5. Root 5 is irrational. See, this part is rational and that is irrational. If you combine those two, and rational and irrational, still it is irrational, and we are going to prove the irrationality of those numbers. Again, we use the same technique called proof by contradiction. Then by that contradiction, you need to suppose that you will start your proof by assuming that 3 plus 2 root 5 as rational. Let us assume that 3 plus 2 root 5 as rational. Right. And since 3 plus 2 root 5 as rational, you need to write that 3 plus 2 root 5 in the rational form. What is the rational form? The rational form is p by q form for p comma q as integers. So 3 plus 2 root 5 is equals to p by q. And since 3 plus 2 root 5 is equals to p by q, then here you need to apply your mathematical skills to arrive a contradiction. For that, I am just making this root 5 as subject here. I will just send this 3 that side as well as 2 that side. Then how it becomes? 2 root 5 is equals to p by q minus 3. And then you just send 2 also that side. And that implies root 5 is equals to, if you send 2 that side, it becomes half of the number p by q minus 3. And now if you look there, I have that root 5 is equals to half of p by q minus 3. You just think about the left hand side as well as the right hand side. And you know that left side part root 5 is irrational. And if you think about the right side part, which is p by q, a rational number minus another rational 3, and when we are multiplying this with 1 by 2, this result is clearly a rational number. And if you observe this, the left side is irrational, whereas the right side is rational. An irrational number is equals to rational we are observing here. But it is a contradiction because irrational can't equals to rational anytime. So, why you are arriving this contradiction? Just because of our wrong assumption. So, our assumption is wrong. What is our assumption? Our assumption is that 3 plus 2 root 5 as rational. Since this is a wrong statement, then 3 plus 2 root 5 is not rational is the correct statement. That concludes that 3 plus 2 root 5 as irrational. So here what I am telling you is, see, you just look about the left hand side as well as the right hand side. Here left hand side is rational and right hand side, left hand side is root 5 and it is irrational, okay? Left hand side is irrational and right hand side, if you think, this is half of p by q minus 3 and which is rational. Yeah, it is a contradiction because irrational can't be equals to rational number. It is a contradiction. See, why we are arriving this contradiction? Just because of our wrong assumption. Therefore, our assumption is wrong. Since our assumption is wrong, that statement is a wrong statement, and hence we conclude that 3 plus 2 root 5 is an irrational number. Let us start the last problem of the class. We need to show that root 2 plus root 5 also as irrational. See, again we will start our proof with the wrong statement, with the wrong assumption. You need to assume that, let us assume root 2 plus root 5 as rational. See, since root 2 plus root 5 is a rational number as your assumption, you can express that root 2 plus root 5 as of the form p by q, rational form. Root 2 plus root 5 is p by q. Then to arrive a contradiction, we need to move with some of our mathematical skills. You just send this root to that side, it becomes that root 5 is equals to p by q minus root 2. And then you just squaring on both sides. You need to write here that squaring on both sides, then you have root 5 whole square is equals to p by q minus root 2 whole square. And then you just apply the square. In the left side, square of root 5 is clearly 5. Whereas in the right side, p by q minus root 2 square, it is of the form the square of a binomial like a plus b whole square. Here you need to apply the square, then the square of the first term, p square by q square, plus this b square is 2 minus, you will say it as 2 root 2 p by q, just of the form a plus b whole square. A square is this p square by q square, b square is this plus 2, 2ab is minus 2 root 2 p by q. And now, see, you need to make root 2 as the subject. So send this 2 root 2 p by q in the left side and then drag this 5 to the right side. It becomes like this. Yeah, we have at the end that 2 root 2 p by q is equals to p square by q square plus 2 minus 5. Just by taking this 2 root 2 p by q to the left side and by sending 5 to the right side. And now here what we have. See, this is 2 root 2 times of p by q is equals to p square by q square minus 3. Is it right? Right. And then, see, now you just make root 2 as the subject. You need to send the remaining part along with this root 2, what it is? 2p by q to the left side. Then if you send like that, you will get that root 2 is equals to this 2p by q. If you send that side, this q becomes numerator, 2p comes to the denominator. You will get that q by 2p times of this p square by q square minus 3. And now look here, this p by q is a rational number. Q by p is also rational, obviously. So the rational number minus rational, when multiplied with rational, this part is completely a rational number, whereas the left side part is an irrational number. So left side is again irrational here and right side is irrational there. So irrational number is equals to rational you are facing here. That in the sense, irrational number is equal to rational is a contradictory statement. Then you arrive at this contradiction just because of this assumption. So our assumption is wrong. What is our assumption? That is root 2 plus root 5 as rational. It is a wrong statement. Then the correct statement is that root 2 plus root 5 is not rational. If it is not rational, then automatically it becomes irrational, and at the end root 2 plus root 5 is irrational number. And this is the way of proving irrationality of the numbers of the form root 2 plus root 5. And we discussed 3 different types of problems in this class. In the first part, proving the irrationality of the numbers of the form like root 2, root 3, root 5, root 7 as irrationals. In the second part, combination of a rational along with irrational, like 2 plus root 3, 3 plus 2 root 5, those type of numbers are irrationals. And now, in the third case, we are proving sum of two irrational numbers, like root 2 plus root 5 is irrational, root 3 plus root 5 is irrational, root 2 plus root 3 is irrational. We can prove these type of problems by using this process, right? And these three problems are very much important in regarding your examination. You must practice all these problems, right? And now, let us look at the screen. You have few problems related to these discussions on the screen. You need to practice all those problems. Thank you.